All right, it's time to talk numbers, math, and resolution. When it comes to getting the perfect resolution for your intended use, here are your general rules. If your image is going to be printed on a printing press, a brochure, a magazine, the accepted standard number is 300 pixels per inch. That means if you go to your image menu and choose image size, I don't have enough resolution in this file for press quality. 200 is even below the minimum for press quality. And I'll talk about what our intended use is. If I click OK, you will notice if it's going to a laser or inkjet printer, 150 or up to 225 pixels per inch is acceptable quality. So this document was meant for print. I often print to a digital device, my handouts, and they don't need much more than 150. In fact, over 150, your file size just starts to get bigger and bigger, but the quality gets no better. In fact, when people say bigger is always better, I give the example, bigger debt is bad. Bigger isn't always better. Sometimes it's just bigger. If you're looking at a web page or looking at an image on a device, and when I say device, I mean smartphone, tablet, at 100%, typically 72 pixels per inch is the best. Now there's the new line of Retina displays, which is supposed to make it so your eyes can't discern an individual pixel at your normal viewing distance. So they can use a little bit higher resolution. However, that just gives you, in most cases, zoomability, the ability to pinch zoom a little bit closer. And I'm going to flip over to this handout I wrote on resolution, which is in your lessons folder. I'll zoom in using my regular Photoshop zoom shortcuts, Command plus on the Mac or Control plus on Windows. And this has a review of the two main categories of images, raster versus vector. And you'll notice I'm at 100%. When I advance pages, this I wrote up as an illustration for what bigger file size means when it comes to resolution. If your image is intended for on-screen only, slideshows, office presentations, 72 should be just fine. And an 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 8.5, 72 pixel per inch image in red, green, and blue, the color space of your monitor, is just a little over 1 meg. If you're doing it for printing to your office printer or your home office printer, it would be 6 megabytes. And for press quality, that same image at 300 pixels per inch, if it was captured at high res to begin with, would be 24 megabytes. But you couldn't start with a 72 pixel per inch image and increase the resolution to 300. There's not enough data there. The image would just look soft and fuzzy. And if you think bigger is better, well, you can scan at 600 pixels per inch or capture an image at 600 pixels per inch and still print at 8.5 by 11, but you've got a 96 megabyte file size. Instead of only 6, which is usually what you need to print at, let's say, one of the drugstores in your area, the Walgreens or CVS I run to in my neighborhood. I tend to crop to 4 by 6 in Photoshop, set my resolution to 150, and they look just as good at 150 compared to 300. And I'll show you that. A lot of people don't believe this until they actually run the numbers and try it. Now, I also put CMYK resolutions here. CMYK is what is required for printing presses, the 4-color process. At your digital color photo printer at home or color laser printer, RGB should still be fine, and actually in many cases richer and brighter. But if you're doing press quality, you will need 300 pixels per inch and CMYK color space, cyan, magenta, yellow, and K is black. So here's the example photo that I created. Actually, I didn't create it, I took it. So I started with an unedited version where I cut the dimensions, increasing the resolution to 600 pixels per inch. Then in Photoshop, I took the 600 pixel per inch image and I resed down to 300 through image size. He looks good, he looks good, he looks good. At 150, I don't really even see a difference because I'm looking at this on my screen only. If I scroll down a bit, here are the same images, just with lower resolution set in Photoshop at 108. Many monitors have a resolution of 108 pixels per inch, so this actually looks sharper than the 72. I see more detail. But I see more detail at 150 on this one. However, past 150, he doesn't get any better looking. The quality doesn't improve. In fact, it almost looks softer at 600 pixels per inch. But at 36, half the resolution of your monitor, you clearly see big square pixels and you can't see much detail at all. This is what happens when you take a web quality image and you blow it up 200%. You get virtually nothing. It looks like a 1980s video game. If you'd like to try this, I can come back to Photoshop. And if you do File, Open, I have all of these images in your Resolution Images folder. So you could start with 600. You could see the file size. You could open 300, see the file size. You could open 225. But notice how he's getting smaller and smaller? Photoshop never displays the actual resolution. So let me close this, and I'll keep opening all the images. Bridge would be a far faster way to do this. So I'm at 108, 72, and let's not even bother with the 36. A little power user trick. Shift-Tab will hide the panels on my right, and now I can do Window, Arrange, and 6 up. So you'll notice 72, 150, 300. Photoshop zooms in more when there is more resolution. So if I scroll to the center of his face, I can go to Window, Arrange, and Match All. Match the location, match the zoom level. But you'll see the eye is just getting bigger and bigger at higher resolution. If I choose View Print Size, and I'll have to select each window, then you could see a one-to-one comparison. View Print Size. In fact, I might be able to do Window, Arrange, Match All. That popped them all to this view. But View Print Size is really the same dimension. Every one of these images, if I go to Image and Image Size, is 2 by 2.7. It's only the resolution that is changed. So I'll go back to View Print Size, and Photoshop will actually show you a side-by-side quality comparison. Now, they may fit on your screen differently because chances are you don't have the exact same resolution as I do. I'm running 1280 width and 720 for height. So this may be larger or smaller, but I can still compare the 72 to the 108, the 150 to the 225, the 300 to the 600. And what that brings me back to is if I do File, Open Recent, and I open the resolution summary, and then I do Window, Arrange, Consolidate All. Press quality requires 300 pixels per inch for a printing press. Office quality, 150 is usually great. 225 may show some improvement depending on your device, but usually between there is perfect. And web and devices often at 72. To do the real test for yourself, I didn't compress these images when I made the PDF, so they are at actual resolution. You could print page 3 in this PDF to your device at home and see a quality improvement from 72 to 108 to 150. Then probably past 150, you'd see no improvement at 225, 300, or 600. The file just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but the quality does not change. So let all this information marinate. Resolution is a good thing to get a handle on. I liken resolution to outer space. Everybody knows it's there, but not many of us have been there or given the full tour of what resolution means for quality. And you always have to assume at 100% or at a fixed dimension for the same image. This same image is the exact same dimension for every shot. Only the resolution changes, the number of pixels in an inch.